Here in North Texas in 2011, Grand Prairie changed its approach to policing. Over the years, the department has invested in community policing programs and a reallocation of resources in the community. I'm joined now by Chief Daniel Scesney. Chief, you talked about this in an open letter to the community, and one of the things you talked about in that letter was training. What new training has the department implemented since 2011?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So in Grand Prairie, we recognized back in 2011 that we really needed to reboot the way in which we did our business. It was a reactive policing model, not unlike many others in the community and in the nation. And we really wanted to focus on problem solving instead of just law enforcement. So the way in which we've done that is we partnered with our community in a number of different programs to try to tackle very difficult problems like juvenile justice, mentoring our kids, building a relationship with police officers so that it's not just Officer Scesney, but instead it's Daniel and who I am. And we feel like if we can get out into our communities, every interaction, every day, and they learn who we are as individuals, it really creates a much better starting point to move forward with some of these difficult issues.
You talk about reaching out to the youth. In that letter, you mentioned reallocating money to other programs. What are the programs and how much money is being invested into programs geared toward youth and other areas?
Well, how much time do you have? We've got, 14, 15 programs that I just noted recently. I'll just give you a couple high points. We have a help mentoring program that is designed that kids get referred to us by the judges, kids that are in the juvenile justice system. We partner them with police officers and try to help give them positive mentoring. Many of these kids don't have positive role models in their lives. And so they get stuck in this rut of going down the wrong path and they can't get out. So our goal there is to get them out. We work with big brothers and big sisters.
If only the police officers in Atlanta had had that type of training. Let's talk about the police killing of Rayshard Brooks, the fired officer now charged with murder. What is your analysis about what happened in Atlanta last Friday?
Yeah, that's a difficult situation because I can tell you that 99.999% of officers in this country take an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. Particularly in North Texas, you have great cops that are doing great work each and every day. And so unfortunately, you take a look at, say, George Floyd, for instance, who was clearly murdered. It's a very clear-cut issue, and to all be lumped into that situation together is a challenge for us. We, police officers, particularly in Grand Prairie, but in North Texas, try to do the right thing each and every day. I think the facts are still being examined in the case in Atlanta, but what I would say is let's not forget the first thing that I would want everyone to know is comply first, then complain. The gentleman had an opportunity very early on to comply with the officers. This is a tragic outcome. It's a tragic outcome for the individual who lost his life, the individual's family, but it's also a tragic outcome for the police officer and the police officer's family. They have to live with that now.
Well, he did have an opportunity, Chief, to comply, but remember, he was not displaying aggressive behaviors. That didn't happen until they went to handcuff him. For several minutes, more than 25 minutes, he was complying. In fact, they were having a friendly conversation, all three of them.
Sure. So I think the point I'm trying to make here is I want to zoom out to 1,000 feet. We can look at the specifics in the Atlanta case, sure, but the broader point I think that we need to make is if an officer is placing somebody under arrest for a legal reason, let's comply first, complain later. That will save lives. I think that's an important point that doesn't need to be left out of this discussion.
All right, Chief, well said, and we thank you for making time for us today, Chief.
Thank you, ma'am.